Hello, welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Todo Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is, beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you're hungry for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. So, moving on. This is going to be the fifth commandment in the theme of forming, but overall commandment 12. I hope I'm making sense. Judge not that you may not be judged. Learning to see others through the eyes of grace. Yes. If commandment 11 confronted the anxious mind, including me, Commandment 12 now confronts the critical heart, because even when anxiety begins to loosen its grip, another inner habit often rises quietly: judgment. Judgment is subtle. It often disguises itself as discernment. It hides behind concern. It borrows spiritual language, and it convinces us that we are helping, protecting, or correcting. But Jesus does not deny that truth exists. He does not deny that error exists, but he exposes something deeper: the posture of the heart from which judgment flows. That's what Jesus is after. But before we dive in, let's read the Bible verse for this commandment, Matthew 7, verse 1 to 5. Do not judge, or you'll be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eyes and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. That is what this Bible verse is talking about. Do not judge. But that's what the church does today. They love it. Judging, being obnoxious towards people, thinking they are better off than another person. Imagine a pastor telling a church member in front of the whole church that, you didn't want me to tell you what God is telling me? He said, you need to lose weight. You're fat. You need to lose weight for you to meet the person that is going to be your blesser. I don't want to use the word blessing. The one that is going to turn your life around, the one that is going to be of blessing to you. The person will not come near you until you lose weight. That sounds absurd. Indirectly, the pastor is judging that woman. You're too fat. But that is not his place to say so. Not in front of the whole members. I don't know what impact it will have on that person, because I watched the video. That person might be self-conscious, because women were already self-conscious of who we are, we look, how we present. But when a pastor tells you in front of the whole church you're fat, the damage it leaves, it goes beyond what the pastor thinks they've already said. The words that comes out of our mouth is so powerful. And these are the things that Jesus is forming in us, that within you need to be refined from within. The state of your heart really matters. You cannot be the carrier of my love if within you there's still so many things that needs to be taken out. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you gaze on people, what goes through your mind really matters. Transformation has to happen from within. I've heard of a story of a lady. She is a seamstress, And she was supposed to sew for this gay couple. They came to her because they know she's very good. And they said, there are two ladies who wants to get married and we want you to sew our wedding clothes. And what did you see? She said, I decline. I won't be able to sew your seamstress, what am I saying? Your wedding dress. And those two ladies were so upset. They felt judged. So what did they do? They sued her. And she had to come out begging for money because, of course, it's draining money. The court case is draining money from her. And not just that, she's losing customers. And I remember asking God, I said, God, what do you think about that, Papa? Do you think it was right for her to deny? Because she denied them because she felt it was against her religion, being a Christian. Gay is not allowed and everything. And God told me, said, Tolu, what about the fornicators she has sown for? What about the adulterer she has sown for? What differentiates them from that gay? It is not in our place to judge them. And that is the problem today. We're so religious to the extent that we deny the love, the love that we are supposed to be showing to people that we believe they are outside of Christianity. They cannot see any love. There's nothing attracting them to God. We keep pushing them away by all means, using our religious as a lens. But the problem is the state of your heart. What has religion turned you to? Has it turned you to a hateful person or a loving person? You know the answer. A lot of time, religion turns you to be an hateful person. Someone that despises people easily because they do not fit into your box. There was a story as well of a baker as well that refused to bake cake because they were gay. The company as well was sued. So let's learn. Do not judge. This is not a threat. It is a spiritual principle. What you release outwardly, you invite inwardly. Jesus is not only speaking about final judgment. He's speaking about how life responds to the posture you carry. Judgment has a way of cycling back. When you label others, life often places you in situations where you are misunderstood. When you speak harshly about another's failure, you often encounter your own weaknesses exposed as well. Not because God is punishing you, but because judgment creates a mirror effect. And what you measure others with, life eventually measures you with it. So learn to be a carrier of God's love. Because there's a lot of judgment without context. And judgment without context is dangerous. You don't know why someone is fat, even if they are actually fat. You don't know why someone has decided to be a lesbian or be a gay. You don't know. So many times Papa has told you, a lot of people that become lesbian, men has molested them, and from there they've had a dislike for men. So you don't know. So Jesus is highlighting something most people ignore. You never see the full story. People judge outcomes without knowing process. They judge behavior without knowing trauma. They judge decisions without knowing pressure. They judge survivor choices without knowing desperation. And this is why Jesus warns against judgment, because it's usually made without context. Yes, the speck and the plank. Jesus' imagery is intentionally absurd. A tiny speck, a massive plank. Why? Because judgment distorts perception. It magnifies the flaws of others while minimizing our own. Yes. And this is not always intentional. It often happens unconsciously. People project. They accuse others of the very thing they struggle with. They call out pride while carrying it. They condemn insecurity while being driven by it. They expose error while ignoring their own blindness. And this is why Jesus says, first remove the plank from your own eye. Not to shame you, but to restore clarity. Let's look at this analogy of the fogged mirror. Imagine trying to help someone fix their appearance while your own mirror is fogged. You point, you instruct, you critique, but your view is distorted. Judgment is like a fogged mirror. Self-examination clears the glass. Only then can help become healing instead of harmful. So the difference between correction and judgment is Jesus does not forbid correction. He forbids condemnation without humility. Correction is private when possible. It's gentle. It's specific. It seeks restoration. It leaves dignity intact. But judgment is public. It's harsh. It's generalized. It seeks exposure. It strips dignity away. That's why so many gays do not think they can be in the church without being judged. Widows think they're judged. Single women judged. Truth spoken without love hardens heart. And love spoken without truth confuses heart. So Jesus insists on both. Why people judge? Jesus exposes a painful truth. Judgment often flows from insecurity, from fear, from wounded identity, from unaddressed pain, from lack of self-awareness. And when people do not deal with their inner world, they manage it by controlling the outer world. They correct others instead of confronting themselves. So, why Jesus calls this hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is not imperfection. It is selective self-awareness. It is seeing clearly what is wrong with others while remaining blind to what is wrong within you yourself. So Jesus uses strong language here because judgment damages relationships, destroys reputations, and fractures community. So, one of Jesus' most countercultural teachings is this: not every truth needs your voice. Yes, some corrections are not yours to give. Some observations are meant to stay internal. And some things are only meant to be prayed through. So silence is not weakness. It is often maturity. Know when to speak and know when to shut your mouth. And the only way you can know that is being led by the Holy Spirit. So, how to remove the plank? Jesus gives no ritual, no checklist, no formulas. It points to a way of life, self-reflection, humility, listening, receiving feedback, surrendering the need to be right. You remove the plank by letting the Holy Spirit examine you, receiving correction yourself, staying teachable, resisting the urge to comment on everything, because there's danger in judgment. Judgment is not harmless opinion. It can destroy marriages. It can ruin livelihoods. It can fracture faith. It can turn people away from God. It can destroy people's businesses. It can create stumbling blocks for the vulnerable. So Jesus treats judgment seriously because people are not abstract ideas, they are lives. And what Jesus is forming in you here is compassion over criticism, humility over superiority, discernment over suspicion, love over control. You can look at other religions, you can accept them lovingly. For so long, Tiffany was judged in heaven because she used to be a witch. Now, because she's so much close to Papa now, people want to interact with her. The people that was not interested in her before now wants to embrace her. So let's learn. Let's learn from things that happen. We are not there to judge people. We are not there to judge people based on their culture, based on their religion, based on how they dress, based on how they look. You are not. supposed to judge. And Jesus is teaching you to ask, am I right? Am I trying to help, or am I trying to feel right? And usually a lot of times you're not trying to help. You're trying to feel right. So on close reflection, Commandment 8, yield how you see others. Commandment 9, yield how you see with desire. Commandment 10, yield how you speak with integrity. Commandment 11, yield how you think about tomorrow. Now, Commandment 12, yields how you relate to people. Because inner transformation is incomplete until love governs perception. Jesus is not forming critics. He is forming peacemakers. And peacemakers see clearly because their eyes are free from planks. So I hope you've been blessed by this commandment. I shall see you in the next. God bless.